Fox, it's a story right out of the X-Files, but thousands of people believe it.
They also believe the truth is out there, in the hands of the U.S. Air Force. Tonight, in a Fox 10 exclusive, you'll hear from a man who claims he was stationed at Luke Air Force Base the night UFOs were spotted over Phoenix. It's the story the Fox 10 investigators say may make you forget about flares. Here is Steve Filmer.
I would love to go down to Arizona and talk to the now 500, perhaps even 1,000 witnesses who have come forward with regard to what they saw over the state of Arizona on Thursday night, the 13th of March, 1997. It is still an untold story.
Coming from Prescott, south to Phoenix Valley area.
This is huge formation of lights, V formation of lights.
Next thing you know, it was in a V shape.
And most UFO stories, they always talk about being round ships. This was a big black triangle.
This thing was way lower than an airplane and much bigger.
Some see just a string of hovering lights. Some grab video cameras to take pictures. The closest thing to official explanation is Air Force planes dropping flares, an explanation UFO investigators say doesn't wash. Those flares happened too far away, too late in the night.
On the night we were taking calls on the hotline in Seattle, we could almost track this object on a map.
Peter Davenport directs the National UFO Reporting Center in Seattle. Call came in that night from many places in Arizona. One he can't forget.
We got a telephone call from a young man who identified himself as being an airman in the U.S. Air Force and stationed at Luke Air Force Base.
At 8:15, the ready alert at Luke Air Force Base, which is two F-15s that we keep on ready alert, they were launched because all hell broke loose, basically. They encountered something over the sky, over Phoenix, Arizona, over the area of 7th Avenue and Indian School Road. They don't know what it was. The description that one of the pilots stated that they had a visual on it, they've got gun camera film of it, they have no radar tape of it. Scared the hell out of them.
He helped the pilot out of the cockpit. He reported to us that the pilot was talking about the intercept, and he was badly shaken by what had just happened in his life.
He saw 5 distinct lights in a triangular pattern. First 3 lights were in a tight triangular formation. He'll never talk. He's a real professional. I've never seen this man scared.
He called to report to us that they had not yet received orders not to talk about what had happened there, but he wanted us to know what had taken place. Essentially, an intercept occurred. Apparently, Luke launched two F-15Cs.
Which the first real problem with the caller's story. You see, the last time Luke Air Base officially had 15Cs operating off of these runways was back in November of 1993. Since then, Luke has been purely an F-16 training base. But that doesn't mean that 15Cs may not still come and go occasionally from Luke. Other witnesses insist they also saw fighter jets meet the strange craft.
And 2 jets flew towards, coming from the west, heading east. Both jets flew underneath this big orange orb, and one of them shot off to the north, and the other one double-backed and flew underneath it and went back to where it came from.
A spokeswoman for Luke Air Base says the base airspace controller officially records no flights from Luke that night. But she says other people on the base do recall planes taking off and landing that night.
He was scared to death. He's not sure what it was. They landed, the base was, we had a complete lockdown. The facility was closed.
2 days after the so-called Phoenix Lights UFO incident, Peter Davenport says the Luke Airman called back.
He had just been hauled into his commander's office, and his commander had apprised him that within 24 hours' time, he, the airman, would be transferred to Greenland, and that he was to pack all of his bags, that he was going to be gone. We have not heard from that individual since the 16th of March, 1997.
Steve Filmer, Fox 10 News.
We'd like to thank local UFO researcher Tyler Pauly of Telekinetic Productions for helping us with this story. By the way, a local UFO group is taking the Defense Department to court over the Phoenix Lights episode. Tomorrow in a Phoenix federal court, the Defense Department will try to end Scottsdale lawyer Peter Gersten's lawsuit against the military, failing to turn over reports on the Phoenix Lights sighting. There will be more.
There will be more. Tomorrow night, only on Fox. It's called a body wrap. And those who've